Meeting of Council February 29th is called to order. Yeah, motion to adopt the February 29th regular meeting agenda as presented, unless we have Councillor Butler, Councillor Hammond, Councillor Ross.
If I could just add a late item to give a little update on more information on the water conservation workshop that's to be hosted in Nelson, because I know council and many people in the community are interested in it, and it's open to the public.
Councillor Butler.
I think if you wanted during the reports, you could do that during councilors' reports.
That's whenever you would, whenever you want it.
Where is late item? Councillor Butler, yeah, maybe put it as a late item.
Sure.
Amend the agenda.
I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to the Board of Ruins for doing so well, so I'll add that as a late item to the agenda.
So then may I have a motion to adopt the amended agenda. Councillor Ross, Councillor Thompson, all in favor? So carried. May I have a motion to adopt the February 15, 2016 Committee of the Whole minutes as presented? Councillor Grog, do I have a second?
That's it.
Councillor Thompson.
Those minutes.
All in favor? So carried. May I have a mover to adopt the February 15, 2016 regular meeting minutes as presented? Councillor?
Amendment to them.
Go ahead, Councillor Thompson.
Actually, I have two on page 13 of the agenda. The motion that resolved it all written, and I'm suggesting we need to add the words "and the verbal reports of council be received," because there were verbal reports at that meeting as well. And then on page 15 of our agenda, the letter from the city of Port Coquitlam, the second paragraph. Councillor had discussion, so it should be council rather than councillor, or was there a particular councillor that had spoken to that? I couldn't remember. It reads, councillor had discussion with regard to the change in percentage and the chance that there could be less. So that didn't.
I'm lost.
Should
You're on
say
15?
council. Should say council.
Okay.
I'm on page 16,
Okay.
or 15, pardon me, of 66.
We're right there, council. Should say council.
So those would be only changes.
So may I have a motion to adopt the amended minutes as presented? Councillor Thompson, do I have a seconder? Councillor Ross, all in favor? So carried. May I have a motion to adopt February 17th, 2016 special meeting minutes as presented? May I have a mover? Councillor Krog, seconder. Councillor Ross, all in favor? So carried. We now move on to our written reports from council. May I have a motion to receive the written reports from council as presented? Councillor Hammond and Councillor Ross. Discussion? There should be none on this.
Just a question.
Go ahead.
Just a question on your report, Mr. Mayor. The trip over to Trail by the CAO, was that paid for by the City of Trail or by the City of Grand Forks?
I will let Mr. Allen answer. I can't answer, but I will let him answer.
The city of Roslyn paid for the expenses.
Thank you. All in favor? So carried. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I just wanted to compliment our CAO on going over and helping the city of Rossland, who are experiencing a very difficult time at the moment. And it's good that we can help out our neighbors.
Yes, I was just getting my agenda back in order here, and I was going to make the same comment. We show great fortitude on behalf of the city to be able to extend the helping hand to the community. Thank you, Mr. Allen. Councillor Ross.
Did you want me to just give an update on the water conference now, just to keep things tight and tidy?
Sure.
Okay, so the water and climate change is called Water and Climate Change, Hot and Bothered in the Kootenays. And it was in the Nelson Star, the advertisement for this, and quite a few, I showed an interest in it, and a few, Mayor Conrad, and I'm not sure if anybody else expressed an interest, but I'm sure other people on council and in the community are interested in this as well. So I contacted Margaret Steele, and she's very good friends with Jan Inglis, and I've met Jan, and she's the organizer for this. And so what I can tell you, the information's not out, so this is hot off the press, hasn't actually gone to press, but it is being organized by volunteers, and basically there will be a session on the afternoon of April 22nd. So if you want to mark that on your calendars, and that session is for elected officials and decision makers. So that's where we would attend, and it has guest speakers, and it's a time for us to go in depth about water issues within our communities and share and create solutions. There will also be cultural events around Earth Day, and a full public day will happen on April 23rd, so people in the community might want to mark that on their calendar, and it'll feature guest speakers and panel discussions, and in-depth time for roundtable discussions among participants and hands-on workshops around water conservation. And there will be an excellent keynote speaker as well. So it's going to be a really great opportunity for us to work, talk within the region about climate change and water conservation. And I do plan on attending, and it is free.
Yes, part. Thank you. Councillor Butler, you might as well do yours then too, your quick announcement.
Sure. First of all, I just wanted to say I haven't had a chance to respond to Councillor Ross on the water convention, but I definitely be in support of you going. I'd like to go myself, but I'll be out of town that week. So
Okay.
yeah, do fill us in on how it goes.
Sure.
And yeah, I just wanted to say I've become a Border Bruins fan over the last 2 weeks. Our team is playing extremely well, and our head coach just received Coach of the Year award as elected by his peers. The Bruins right now are tied 2-2 with Castlegar in the playoff series, and they'll be playing in Castlegar on Tuesday night, I believe. So it'd be nice to see if anybody could head over there and make some noise for them. I know Castlegar came over here on Saturday and made some noise as well. So it's a good competition, and it's nice to see the community getting out and supporting them, especially with the Craft Hockey Bill petition out there. So good job, guys. I was just wearing their t-shirt tonight to promote them.
Thank you. All right, moving along now to the verbal report from the council's representative of the RDKB, and that would be myself. I'll give a brief summary on the meeting I attended at the WKBRHD, which is the West Kootenay Boundary Regional Hospital District, for those of you that are not familiar with it, on February 24th. There was a lot of discussion around the table in regards mostly to the recognition of projects that seem to be going on between the IHA and the province, and not too much of a resolve in other areas that's getting to the municipalities for recognition. That's basically the consensus they're looking at, to get more response back from the IHA, so that the municipalities' needs and requests are being addressed properly. On the 25th, I attended the RDKB meeting in Trail. There were numerous issues on there, and one of them was letters of support for the MRDT, to forward those letters. And we had a delegation put forward by Brian Taylor. His presentation was in regards to the updates on the medical marijuana and local government, speaking mostly on the growers, the large industries, and the impacts on small communities. There was also a brief discussion on the public hearing that went on at the seniors housing out at Christina Lake. Another item that came forward was putting a trail around the Christina Lake Golf Course. And one of the informative items was that RDKB was planning to get Jerry consultants in to give the board members more familiarization with the process of being an RDKB rep, because there are newer ones on it. And that basically sums it up. And I'm done. May I have a motion to receive that report, please? Councillor Ross, Councillor Crog, all in favor? Discussion.
I just wanted to mention, touch a bit on what you said about IHA and their communication with communities, and how one example of how it's impacting communities is here with Boundary Family and Individual Services, where they're pulling the nurses out of BFIS and putting them into the cash store with mental health nurses, and how that's going to impact BFIS and families with children, the school kids that get vaccinated at Curly, because right now BFIS is in Curly, and so the nurses are there at the school, and a consultation with the community and how it's going to impact the community and the families that use that service should have been discussed with us. And I'm disappointed that they haven't. And I think it would be wise if we asked for some in-depth information on what their take is on it, and then we'll have an opportunity to respond once we've got their information to us. So I would like to make a motion that we send communication to IHA requesting detailed proposal of what it is that they're planning to do at the new facility on 2nd and how that's going to impact BFIS.
I would recommend that we bring this to the board, the hospital board meeting first, and we can I can present it there to see what their input is rather than step over them, because they are in communications with the IHA right now to see if more response from them in concerns to communities where they have issues that need addressing.
Yeah.
So before, I would recommend to council, before we make a motion of that nature, let's see where it goes on the first step, because they are in the process of doing that.
Okay, I just wanted to make everybody aware that
Yes.
that it is impacted.
It is a good point, and that was basically the nature of the conversation around the table the other night, of those type of issues where communication was not there between the municipalities and the IHA, and they weren't being as transparent, let's say,
Mhm.
the way which was being asked.
Mhm.
But I will acknowledge that and make a note of that and bring it up. And express our concerns in Grand Forks and see where it goes with that. Then possibly we can make the motion to be in support of the hospital board also.
Mhm. Okay.
All in favor of the question? So carried. Okay. Moving on to our manager of development and engineering. The subject matter is the application for a development variance permit to vary the exterior side parcel line setback to allow for the placement of a portable temporary office trailer. The recommendation is, and the motion is, to approve the application for a development variance permit for a maximum of 2 years, requesting an exterior side parcel line setback variance from 15 feet to a range of 2 feet on the southeast corner of the office trailer and to 12 feet at the northeast corner as shown on the drawing. Attached with the application, and to direct staff to complete the necessary statutory requirements for the development variance permit application. May I have a motion? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Butler, discussion. Councillor Hammond.
So they're looking for a temporary variance. Are they planning on replacing that trailer with a permanent structure in the same location, right? No?
There's no knowledge to that effect. That has not been mentioned.
Okay, and this isn't, the 2 feet is sufficient clearance for snow plowing and road maintenance?
Garcia, that's
Mr. Mayor, this is an unconstructed road. It's more of a driveway between the two parcels, so there would only be private works on that area. So there's not a lot of concern from the city, and the owner will take on that risk.
So is that a good clarification?
Yeah.
Any other discussions or questions? All in favor of the question? So carried. Now move on to our information items, and the issue here is from the Deputy Manager of Operations and regarding chainsaw course. We need a report on that from our, are you willing to elaborate on that, or is it a necessity?
Sure. Mr. Mayor, it's up to council. Council has the information if they would like to have it presented to the public.
Or is it sufficient that we receive a memorandum from the Deputy Manager of Operations regarding the chainsaw course? May I have a motion first of all? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Hammond. If there's any discussions or questions, otherwise, Councillor Ross.
Yeah, I really appreciate the amount of work that's gone into this report. I just want to thank Daniel for that and the photos that accompany it. I realize that deadfalls and what they call widowmakers are an issue and need to be cleaned up. My only concern is that nesting birds are taken into consideration before this happens in the future, especially this time of the year, especially nesting owls and that kind of thing. So, thanks for the report, but I just hope that we can just do better next time. And I know that's in the report as well, and be mindful of nesting owls.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Councillor Butler.
Yeah, I went out there and toured the site yesterday, I think it was, and we weren't sure if the owl was out there, and she spooked my head as I walked by, so I think it was the sheep, I'm not sure. But there was a big owl that went up into the nest, so I'm really glad that Daniel called in Jenny and we got a report done on it right away, and that the cutting was stopped because her nest is in one of the leaning trees. So I am curious though, that property that the trees are on, if that's the property that was up for sale last year, and if it were to be sold to a private owner, would they then be responsible for protecting the owl's nest?
Or CEO, Mr. Allen.
Mr. Mayor, when it comes to nesting and protecting red listed species, yes, the land developer would be required to meet those environmental obligations. So council can put that into the development permit, the requirements. They would try to find resolution working with the biologist to get to navigate it, but there are times when it just doesn't work. So again, that could be a requirement. So yes, they would be required to mitigate it.
And thank you, Danny, for that detailed report. It was very informative. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? All in favor of the motion? So carried. Moving on to our bylaw section from our Chief Financial Officer. The subject matter is bylaw 2015-A1, the electrical utility regulatory amendment bylaw. And the recommendation is to give it first three readings to bylaw 2015-A1, electrical utility regulatory amendment bylaw, at the February 19th regular meeting of council. And Councilor Thompson.
I would move first three readings of bylaw 2015-A1.
Yeah, I'm looking at this date. I think it should be reading 29. Is that not correct? Yes. Do I have a second? Councilor Crowe. Any discussion? No. All in favor? So carried. We have no lead items at this point, so the next subject on hand is the questions from the public and the media. And again, may I caution the public and the media, questions have to pertain to the subject matter on this evening's agenda. Otherwise, they will not be acknowledged. So may I have some questions if there are any? To the lady in front.
Deb Millette with the Gazette. Regarding the hospital board and the IH discussion, how often does the hospital board meet? How fast would that come about, that discussion then?
Once a month.
Once a month? Thanks.
Any other questions? May I have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Ross, Councillor Hammond, all in favor? So carried. This meeting is adjourned.